So there's people in your company whose job it is to open attachments from unknown people. Could this be a problem? Absolutely. Find out how today on Cyber Sentinel. Hello, this is Alan Adcock with ASC Group. We're an IT consulting firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. And on this episode of Cyber Sentinel, we're going to get to a few questions that were sent in over social media. If you've got a question that you'd like us to address, please send it to us over social media at #CyberSentinel.
How can my employees stay up to date with cybersecurity in the workplace?
So companies have employee training programs around all kinds of stuff these days. Everybody's got mandatory training they got to do, OSHA, safety training. We've even got training now on how we should treat our clients, customers, and our coworkers so everybody can get along. A lot of companies, though, have not implemented cybersecurity training for their staff. This is an issue because we're still seeing about 74% of all of the attacks coming into corporate entities are coming in via email, via either links in a email message or infected downloads from attachments. So we really need to address that at companies of all sizes. So small businesses up to large corporate entities. Your small business can do this fairly easily. There's a lot of cyber training that's available these days. The best training programs are either web-based. We have some instructor-led ones that are available as well. Those web-based trainings are good. People tend to be able to go through those pretty quickly. What these training programs need to really address is the why. Why do you not want to click this link? Why do you need to pay attention to this stuff as an employee of the company? For me, I always learn better if somebody can tell me the why behind something. I'm more apt to remember that going forward so that I can actually be an integral part of the security for my organization instead of a liability from the cybersecurity standpoint. So employee training should be fundamental to any corporate security program.
How can a hacker retrieve confidential information from my business?
So the staff here at ASC Group, we belong to numerous security threat databases and notification organizations. Some of those are private and some are government funded organizations that really give us some intelligence into what is going on out there in the world of cybersecurity. One thing that we've seen a lot of notices on lately have revolved around your HR department. So this makes a lot of sense if you really think about it. We talk a lot about email security and things like that. So who in your organization, as a function of their job, is supposed to be opening attachments from people they do not know? It's your HR department. They're getting resumes all day long from people they don't know. They're opening these attachments. This has become a major threat vector that people are seeing across the country, where those HR departments are being targeted for phishing campaigns and attachment files that have been loaded with malware. This is particularly troublesome when we tie it in with some recent financial fraud around HSA accounts and your 401k accounts. There's not a bigger repository of money that I can think of than all the money the United States employees have tied up in corporate 401k programs. And the cyber criminals know this. They've begun to target those accounts through the HR departments. So if they can get into an HR department, infect those HR computers, then chances are they're going to be able to grab the PII, personally identifiable information for your staff, and be able to grab the login information for your 401k and HSA accounts. So your corporation security program really needs to pay special attention to the machines in HR and how those that PII information and those account credentials for those high dollar accounts is protected. So keep that HR department in mind in the security plan. So North Korea has been in the news again lately. President Trump's had a couple of summits with the North Korean leadership. We're trying to get them to back off their nuclear weapons programs and some other, the rocket programs that they've got going over there. One thing that goes a little underreported in the news is North Korea's cybersecurity or cyber attack programs that they've got going. They really target governments and people, corporations worldwide. For the North Koreans, this is a major source of foreign currency for them. They don't do a lot of trade in the traditional space. So the cyber attacks have become a major funding method for the North Korean government. A lot of the ransomware attacks, which we've talked about on the show before, are being directed out of North Korea. So these ransomware attacks target targets of opportunity oftentimes. So your small business may not be something that the North Koreans have looked up and said, hey, we're going to go after you particularly, but you're a target of opportunity. So they'll run scans across the internet as a whole, looking for known vulnerabilities. If your corporation is affected by a known vulnerability and they can get into your organization, or they use a phishing scheme and get into your email, then they're going to use that as an opening in order to deploy ransomware, which is going to encrypt your data. Once your data is encrypted, they're going to offer to unlock that for a fee, and those fees go into funding North Korean foreign exchange accounts. So you don't often think about the North Koreans being a threat to your small business. This is a way in which they are a threat. How do you defend yourself against this kind of thing? Good cybersecurity standards is the only way to go. Make sure everything's up to date, make sure your firewall's up to date, train your employees. All the standard practices apply, whether you're trying to defend yourself against typically the depiction of a loner in his basement with a computer, or a nation state that happens to be trying to get their funds for their foreign exchange up. The security is the same for both. Don't let your company become a victim of ransomware from North Korea. So those are the questions we've got for today's episode of Cyber Sentinel. If you have questions that you want to have us address in future episodes, reach out to us on social media at #CyberSentinel. Thank you.